Hey everybody, this review is on the 1986 remake of The Fly, also called The Fly. So the plot of this movie is this scientist named Seth Brundle, played by Jeff Goldblum, is experimenting with these pods, just like in the original film, that can teleport one being of matter to the other pod. But the problem is that it doesn't. In this one, the pods don't really work well because blow it blows stuff up. So that's why he never wants to test it on a human. But then there's this woman named Veronica, played by Gina Davis, who is interviewing Seth about his latest invention, and she really craves, you know, all the action, so because her boss tells her to. So she wants to know what would happen if a living person actually went in there. So he does the unthinkable and actually goes into the pod, but of course, a fly gets trapped inside the pod and then it causes a genetic mutation. But this time, Seth, he slowly mutates into a fly. He gets a lot of fly features. His skin secretes a bunch of mucus, and he gets a bunch of insect-like uh, features on his body. So you basically see his horrific transformation and the really negative results from his experiment. This is one of the few horror remakes I actually really like. Heck, this is also an exceptionally rare horror remake I actually think is even better than the original. And I guess if you haven't been on my channel long enough, I did talk about the original Fly years ago, and I guess I should probably say what I think about it. I like it. I think it's a good film. It's a very good B movie type film with a really creepy story about a guy who switches heads, or I guess switches bodies, I guess, with a fly, and you see a man with a giant fly head. So yeah, it's a classic B movie, and it has a really low budget charm to it, and it really makes for a good creature feature. This movie, it's even better because I think, yeah, the first movie, it was creepy, but I wouldn't say it was terrifying. Like, I wouldn't say it was flat out super scary. This movie is scary. Like, it's not like the original at all because, well, like I said, the story is not like the original because there's different characters. It actually focuses less on the experiment thing and more on the effects. The and the whole thing is that the main character in this film, Seth, who who's Jeff Goldblum's character, as I said, he doesn't just get his head switched with a fly. He slowly mutates into a fly. Like, lots of his body starts shedding, and he gets all kinds of fly features. Like, and he gets even like little hairs on his body, because you know how fly abdomens have those little hairs, and he gets like these kind of compound like texture on his face, and it's really disgusting, and the makeup effects still look amazing. I think this won an Oscar for best makeup, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, I'd say if it did, I'd say it would totally deserve it because the makeup still looks great. They really made it look like, Seth's skin was oozing and getting fly features and all the little hairs you get on him, and he doesn't even really look like a fly. And that's actually kind of what makes this film scarier than the original, because the original, like, yeah, guy a guy's head on a fly body, like, I guess that's kind of creepy. But this one, like, he doesn't even look like a fly. He looks like some weird genetically mutated monster, which he is, but like, he just looks like a thing. He doesn't even look like a fly. So that's kind of what makes it even scarier. The fact that, yeah, looking like a fly is bad enough, but looking like some weird demonic gross creature is even worse. And yeah, the structure is definitely nothing like the original movie. And this movie is definitely way more graphic. And okay, when I say graphic, I don't mean it's gory. This movie doesn't really have much blood. It's just, when I say graphic, I mean like you see like all the fly features, and you see Seth's transformation into a fly creature, and like you see, his skin breaking down and everything, and even his interactions with Gina Davis's character. Like she's curious about the story, but then she kind of quickly realizes maybe I shouldn't have, you know, gone so far into this for making it a new story, because she's really terrified of the scenario, because seeing a fly person is just really a scary thought. And they even try to go out, and of course it doesn't really work well with how scary Seth looks. And there's even a really bizarre nightmare scene uh, where Veronica reveals she's pregnant, and then she quickly has a nightmare about giving birth to a giant maggot. Like, it's disgusting, and that's what makes this film really good, because a movie about a human fly, like, you want it to be disgusting. You want it to have a gross out factor. You want to feel uncomfortable, and that's the one aspect I think that was missing about the original Fly. Mind you, the original probably had a really low budget, so they probably couldn't do a lot with it. But that's why I feel this movie really works better than the original, where it kind of has a B movie feel, but feeling more like a straight up horror film with all the effects and making it look scary with a really creepy looking atmosphere. And it's just a really fun movie. It's not super long, and it's different enough from the original to the point where even if you haven't seen the original, you can still enjoy this one. It's still really good, and I think it's even superior, even though I still recommend watching the original Fly. But this one definitely has a different story that makes it super engaging, and it's very different from the first. And yeah, it does really have a slow build up, but it makes it all worth it in the end, because that's what makes it very suspenseful and creepy. And it's a flat out great remake. Like, one of the few horror remakes that's actually really good, and even more rare, one of the few ones that's better than the original. So yeah, The Fly Wreck, if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it. It's a really good film. I mean, okay, if you get easily grossed out, I wouldn't say this is really the best film to watch, but if you don't care about that stuff, I definitely suggest this one. It's a very good 80s style B movie that it's a really fun time. It's not too long, but it's still worth it, and it's a fun little monster movie. So, yeah, that's my review of The Fly, so goodbye.